America is the greatest nation in the world. We are the most free, most successful, most powerful nation because finally now we've tried to live up to the ideals articulated in the Declaration of Independence. And finally now the Supreme Court, after 50 years, nearly 50 years of an atrocity, has brought us back to that truth. It's my time. I will not yield, Mr. Cohen, because your comments are absurd. This hearing is absurd. Your comments are absurd.
It's Mr. Johnson's time, Mr. Cohen.
Thank you. This hearing is absurd. The Democrat majority has called us here for this hearing entitled "The Threat to Individual Freedoms in a Post-Roe World." Come on. The first inalienable individual freedom is the right to be born. It's the right to life. We boldly declared that in our nation's birth certificate. America should continue to uphold the sanctity of human life, and state and local and federal government officials have a duty, a constitutional responsibility to protect that fundamental right. All life is precious, and there is an inherent compelling interest in protecting unborn children because they are unable to protect themselves. But the radical advocates of abortion are now completely unhinged, and they are seeking to trample on the individual freedoms of all those who disagree with them. Over the weekend, the left-wing activist group Shut Down D.C. offered $200 bounties for public sightings of Supreme Court justices they disagree with. It's obvious, the point of their tweet and all the attention they were trying to gather there is to get people to harass conservative justices when they're out in public. They don't have any individual freedoms. Hey, man, they're fair game. Then Senator Elizabeth Warren, I mean, she is completely unhinged now. She said pro-life pregnancy centers should be shut down all around the country. It's appalling for her to say that. There are 2,700 pregnancy centers all around this country, all 50 states. They're supported by over 10,000 licensed medical professionals. They annually serve approximately 2 million women and men. I was legal counsel for many of these pregnancy centers. I can tell you from my own experience, they do exceptional, critical work. Why would anybody want to shut down pregnancy centers that exist to provide counseling, care, aid, and comfort to struggling mothers who just want to have their babies? It defies logic, but the answer is simple. Their extreme agenda demands it. And speaking of extreme agendas, let me tell you what my friends on the other side of the aisle are for, okay? They filed H.R. 8296 in this Congress. They call it the Women's Health Protection Act of 2022. We call it the Abortion on Demand Until Birth Act. You don't know why? Because it's extreme. It would create a national standard to allow for abortions for unborn children for any reason at any stage of pregnancy up until birth. Read the bill. That's not a talking point. It allows for discriminatory abortions on the basis of the baby's sex, race, and disability. It would override pro-life laws and prohibit states from enacting legislation that protects unborn children, such as protections for babies with Down syndrome and other disabilities. It removes common sense protections for women and children. For example, the Abortion on Demand Until Birth Act, the Democrats' bill, would not allow states to enact laws to ensure parental involvement for minors. Laws to protect women from coercion. They don't care. The agenda demands, the zeal for this demands that they override all that. Their bill includes vague language that could also weaken conscience protections for medical professionals and limit their right to refuse to participate in an abortion. You think that they're not all on board for this? Guess what? On September 24th of last year, all but one Democrat in the House of Representatives voted on an almost identical bill. Go look it up. H.R. 3755. Abortion on demand until birth. That's what this agenda demands. Ms. Foster said it so well earlier. You mentioned this agenda begins with dehumanizing the unborn child. I just have a minute left, but in my experience, my colleagues here are not able to acknowledge that what is inside the mother's womb is actually a child. I believe, and this is for all the young people here and those watching, I believe if you can, in this debate, if you can take people to the medical reality of the humanity of the unborn child, we win. This is a pro-life country, increasingly so, because we have medical technology. We have 4D ultrasounds. No one can lie to us anymore and tell us it's a blob of tissue, that it's just a clump of cells. This is a baby. At 6 weeks, it has a heartbeat. At 15 weeks, it can feel pain, suck its thumb. It has eyebrows, lips, nose, and the whole thing. Look at the reality, folks. Do not let them obscure the facts.